So we've been seeing the topic floating around lately, and it's called Why Looking Poor is Important. But what I really think the topic should be is why looking poorer is important. So, welcome to Wealth Twins Podcast, episode number 16. And we're going to discuss why looking poor is important. And I couldn't think of a better person to ask this question to than Nicole, because Nicole and her husband are expert at this. So, Nicole, what do you think? Why do you think it's important to look poor?
Okay, first off, you got jokes. Second off, for someone that says I'm an expert at looking poor, I think we're twinning today. Am I right?
We are actually, we have
So,
the same shirt on.
so I'm gonna help people out so they don't think this is AI. So I'm gonna let you know I wear glasses sometimes. So I'm gonna put those on today. Okay, you got jokes. Anyway, so why looking poor is important? I believe the first reason why looking poor is important is because it allows you to keep your business out the street, right? And people just assume if you're looking poor that you may not have any money. So therefore, you can keep your money to yourself and people don't ask you for it. And those that are bold enough to actually ask you for money, it's more believable when you actually hit them with the line and say, I just don't have it. Like Kevin Hart said, right? He goes, what had happened was my money in my checking and the money in the saving, then those accounts aren't linked. So you could easily say that and it'll be more believable because you have kept your business out the street. And when you look poor, it's easier to do that. What do you think, Nadia?
I think that's true. I think people are less likely to ask you for money when they think you don't have it. But my thing is, I think it's important to look poor because we all know it's not the amount of money you make, it's the amount of money you keep, right? So if you are spending your money way more like on material things, when I'm talking about material, I'm thinking cars, I'm thinking jewelry, I'm thinking clothing. Those things are what gives us the concept of someone looking rich, right? When you spend your money on those things, those are not things that are going to bring you money in. All that is doing is creating more costs for you, and you're not keeping the money that you make. If you make a lot of money but you spend a lot of it, it doesn't really matter how much you make because you're going to be just as poor as the next man who makes less money than you. So when I look at material things like that, doesn't mean anything to me. And especially growing up in the hood, because one of the first things I learned is getting a nice car and having a big diamond ring means nothing because those are the first things that are the easiest things to come by because it doesn't require a lot for you to get that, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know good and well when you were living in Brooklyn, you saw all the nice cars in the street. Even when we were growing up in New York City housing, it was not a unfamiliar sight to see the BMWs and things like that. But you're like, listen, you're living right next to me, so
Mm-hmm.
having those high end cars didn't really correlate with the rest of your lifestyle. So I agree with that. I think another reason why it's important to look poor, and here, by the way, we're not talking about looking unkept. We're not talking about having holes. We're just saying it's not necessary to have a name brand thing or spend that much money on things in order to present yourself in a nice way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to that, I believe it's a way for you to attract the right people and repel the wrong people because you will have those that are attracted to you just because of what you're wearing. If you have the name brands, if you have the nice jewelry on, things like that, you're going to attract a certain type of person that may not want to get to know you on a deeper level because they're so superficial. However, if you come out just looking presentable without all the name brands, it gives you a chance to attract people who are willing to find out more about you on a deeper level. That's what I truly believe because you communicate value more or you can communicate value in a different way than just showing what you are wearing.
Now, I will say, as a person of color, this can be a double edged sword, right? Because if you're a person of color and you're not dressed well, people might just automatically assume they know everything about you. And I will say, it's very hard for me sometimes to get over that. So if I catch myself trying to dress a certain way if I'm going somewhere just because I'm thinking maybe if I dress the regular way that I do because I'm retired, I'm a mom of young children, if I wear nice clothes all the time, they're going to get damaged. If I find myself trying to dress out of my outside norm just for the sake of trying to impress someone or trying to get them to think I'm different than what their previous notion is, I will purposely check myself and make sure I dress the way I want to dress for that occasion because I want to make sure I'm as authentic as possible and that makes me comfortable. And like I said, this is very difficult for people of color because we all know you're going to get judged by the way you look. But if you're a person of color, unfortunately, that also adds into the picture so people already think they know something about you. So I can see why sometimes people want to dress in designer clothes that show labels because they think that may show a different level of success for them, that may get people to treat them a different way. And but like I said, I purposely make sure if I feel that way, I change the way I'm dressing to fit more how I am. Never mind
I
what the
mean,
other person thinks.
if you go into that, listen, racists are going to racist no matter
That's
what.
true.
Karens
That's
are going
true.
to Karen no matter what.
Mhm.
So you can be the nicest dressed, behave the nicest way, and just be yourself all you want. But if a person's coming in with preconceived notions, it really doesn't matter.
I agree. I
So
agree.
I just expect it to happen, and it's a shame, but yeah, that's the world we live in. I expect it to happen, so I give really no credence to that. But there are some occasions where you're required to dress up, like weddings, for example.
Yeah.
Yes, you can go there dressed up very nicely, right? We have stuff in our wardrobe that when we have to go to special occasions, we will step up. But on an everyday basis, I choose not to, put so much emphasis on buying expensive things, especially when I'm, just wearing everyday clothes. Another reason I would say it's important to, you know, look poor, why it's important to look poor is because of hidden costs when you buy these high-end expensive items. These are the maintenance costs people don't really think about. If you buy the biggest house on the block, guess what's going to come with that? The most expensive quotes in terms of painting, in terms of fixing any plumbing issues, in terms of fixing any this to the house. It always happens. I remember the time I was getting my car fixed, right? A lady came in and she had a high end car. I'm not sure if it was a Mercedes or a BMW, something like that. And she asked for a quote on brakes. The guy, without even looking at the car, just told her it's going to start off at $900. I could not believe that. Like, I think my brakes to get at that time, it might have been like 120 to change all of them. But for her to be quoted $900 just because she said, I'm driving a Mercedes or a BMW, that was the hidden cost, that maintenance cost that she had to get anytime that she asked for help because of what she bought in the first place. And I don't ever want to be attached to those things like that because they just end up costing you more and more.
I think if people I was just thinking about this the other day. I think if people judge people's wealth by the car they drive, I think you are miscategorizing a lot of people. If you look at the car that I drive, my newest car to me is 20 years old. It's a
Oh,
20-year-old
goodness.
minivan, right? So I think one of the things that we tend to do as a society is judge people by cars. So if you judge people with older cars or not like high end cars and you think automatically that they don't have money, why is it the same or the opposite when you see someone with an expensive car and you think, oh, they have money? I'm telling you right now, most likely that is not the case. I was reading a book the other day. It's called Influence by Robert Cialdini, right? And one of the easiest things to convince people of your status or your wealth is to get material things like a nicer car or to dress a particular way. And it's especially done by con artists because they know instinctually people will think, oh, if they have this, something that's desirable, they must be doing something that I'm not doing and they have more money. Those are the easiest things to get and to convince someone that you are who you are actually not. Okay. So when you look at things like that, don't automatically assume what you're seeing is really on the surface, what's really true. Most likely that's not the case. And I was looking at an article the other day. It was in a newspaper. There was a parking lot collapse in New York City, right? And one of the people they interviewed, he basically just escaped with his life. But the problem was he was very disappointed because the parking garage had collapsed on his brand new BMW. And the thing that was interesting about this story is that the guy was homeless and he was living in this brand new BMW. He had everything in here. And I thought to myself, wow, have we come to the point where people will spend all the money they have on a nice car to impress people to the point they have nowhere to live? And I felt bad for the guy. I'm not judging him. Like, hey, if you want to drive around in a nice car, so be it. But I felt bad for him because now he has no car, he has nowhere to live, and it exposed the fact that this guy had put so much of an emphasis on having a nice car that something happened to that car, which the car, anything in New York can happen to your car. Someone can take it, someone can destroy it, it can happen. For him to put everything he had into that one car, I felt sorry for him. And I thought it was like, wow, this is such an interesting story that it's to this level that people are saying, let me put all my money into this one material thing rather than having something that can generate income for me or is an asset for me and help me build my wealth. He's showing his wealth and it's not long term at all. I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it goes back to if he's in the dating age, right? Someone might see him with a car and say, "That's the guy I want,"
Hmm.
not knowing the full story. When if he was, really doing it in a certain way that showed that he was going to be responsible and trying to build wealth in the long run, he might have a roommate, and a lot of people might not like. A lot of ladies might not like him being with the roommate. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that way for him as well. So you really got to pick your battle with that. And again, that goes back to my point of attracting the right people and repelling the wrong people. I want to say too, when you buy very expensive items, especially coming from the point of view of building wealth, you're actually detracting for wealth, right? Because you're taking money out of your pocket rather than keeping money in your pocket. And Morgan Housel in the book The Psychology of Money, he talks about how wealth is things you don't see. Wealth is in your bank account. These are things no one goes around wearing their bank account receipt on them. So the world doesn't see that. So the way that people try to project wealth is by buying the cars, buying the big houses, buying the expensive clothes. And all that does is actually detract from your wealth because wealth is something that you accumulate, it's not something that you actually dissipate in terms of buying things.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons I learned was to avoid lifestyle creep. And if you don't know what lifestyle creep is, it's basically every time you get paid more, you get a promotion, you get a raise, you increase your lifestyle based on that raise. And I was told to avoid that. And that's one of the best pieces of advice I got early on in my working career. Because every time I got a raise, every time I got a new promotion, I made sure to still keep my lifestyle and still live on the same amount of money that I had started with. And that allowed me to jumpstart my net worth and allowed me to jumpstart my journey to retiring early and on my way to eventually becoming a millionaire, right? It was because I said, you know what? Every time, if I increase these costs, every time I make money, how can I ever dig myself out? It's not working that way. So I use money as a tool in order to help me. I said I was fine at the lifestyle I had. And at that age, I much rather be able to sacrifice at that age, live the same lifestyle so I can put money away so that I can make sure that I was prepared as I got older and I wouldn't have to sacrifice as much at all when I got older. So avoiding lifestyle creep was one of the best things I could do in order to increase my wealth in a very short amount of time. And I wish more people would do that because at the end of the day, like I said before, it's not about the amount of money you make, it's about the amount of money that you keep.
I think another thing that we learned early on, and let me tell you, not in a human, we were not immune to this, but growing up, especially during the 80s in New York, when you
Mm,
wanted, that is like the fashion capital, one of the fashion capitals of the world.
yep.
One of the ways that we learned a lesson very early on is because we're twins, right? And our mother, I swear, my mother used to dress us exactly the same, right? And that was already hard enough. Two, whenever we wanted something new and it was more expensive, or people made fun of our clothes, she said, listen, if people are going to make fun of your clothes, then tell them to buy you some new ones. So, what did that do for us? That gave us a way to get around peer pressure and not be really affected by it. But also, it gave us a chance to start building up our own self esteem and becoming our own leaders and not being swayed by everything that other people were doing because our mother just didn't allow it to happen. So after a while, the more you stand out, the more you realize you become comfortable in your own skin and not really start caring about the opinions of others, especially when it comes to the way you dress. And I definitely think learning that lesson, even though it was a hard lesson to learn early on, it definitely helped us because later on, once we got past the point of people caring what people thought about what we were wearing, it came to some of our friends telling us if you don't wear makeup, if you don't wear dresses, you're going to have a hard time, getting married or, dating. And guess what? They were wrong, right? Our husbands knew, well, we never had a problem dating, but then our husbands, when we got married, they knew exactly what they were getting, okay? And when a pandemic came around, one of the benefits for it when everything closed down, we didn't really have much to worry about because we didn't have to do all the stuff to maintain the things in terms of physical appearance because that we were already that way. So it wasn't that much of a change to our lifestyle. So we were kind of winning in that point of view. But really, if you understand the lesson early on that you don't have to care what other people are thinking, it allows you to use that energy and that effort and that money in another way that can also benefit you.
Yeah, I think today's youth need to really put that in practice more because the youth nowadays I think can benefit from being individuals and it will help them out a lot when they get older. Because if you start out being an individual as you are young, when you get older, you won't feel the pressure to spend money on the things that you think you need to buy in order to impress others, right? You'll be a lot happier and you'll start spending your money on the things you actually value, not the things that you think other people value for you that will make you stand out in their eyes. Now, don't get me wrong, Nicole and I do spend money on the things that we value, but we don't value designer clothing, especially the ones that have the designer's name all over it. No way. I'm not going to be a walking advertisement for you, especially if I paid a lot of money for it. If I do buy designer stuff, it will just be a small label somewhere. You won't know what it is, mainly because I like the style of it and not because of who made it. When you start to use your money in a way to just put it towards things that you value and things that would increase your enjoyment of life, you'll see that you'll use money more as a tool and not as a weapon against yourself when it comes to building wealth.
Yeah, I think one of the things when you start buying expensive items that people might not realize is that the things that you buy actually start, the things that you own actually start owning you.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you buy the expensive clothes, right? You want to make sure no one gets close to you, no one steps on your feet, no one, you can't spill certain things on your clothing. Or you might park your car so far away that you end up, because you don't want anybody to hit that car, and it actually ends up losing freedom in your life rather than you gaining freedom and building wealth and focusing on other things and allowing yourself not to be so concerned about what other people think about what you're wearing, what you're buying. It gives you a certain type of freedom and allows you to move in different ways than when you would if you were just concerned about how people view you and paying so much money on things that are actually going to detract from your wealth.
One of the funniest things of when we started this channel, because our names are the Wealth Twins, we always felt like, oh, we should really try to dress up every time we get in front of the camera. And you know what that did? That stopped us from filming a lot of videos because we were so like involved in trying to look good in front of the camera and dressing up. But you know what started making us feel at ease? And you'll see this in the transitions you'll see in the videos and how we've grown over the years is that we stopped caring about what we were wearing and we said people will start looking at us more and hearing what we speak about if our appearance is not a distraction. So we made sure that, you know what, we'll just dress plain, we'll be authentically ourselves, and then we will try to get our message out that way. And I think that's working for us. What do you think, Nicole?
Yeah, I think I totally agree. It used to be stressful to figure out, oh, did we wear that shirt or we need to buy another outfit? No,
Yeah,
I stopped that. And guess
stop
what?
that
We're bringing out more content. And I think it's better
on a
content.
regular
And I think
basis.
yep, and I think we're benefiting from it, and other people, if hopefully you're benefiting from it as well.
Hmm.
On top of that, at the end of the day, it really is up to the person and what their goal is, right?
Yep.
We're not going to tell you what to do. We're just giving you our point of view based on our experience and understanding. If your goal is truly to build wealth and to pass down generational wealth, then the best thing you could do is keep more money in your pocket and then allocate that money to different things that are going to help you build wealth. And one way to do that is to take introspection and think about what you really want in life and then forget about what everybody else is thinking. Move in the
Hmm.
direction that's going to move you forward in terms of your financial goals. That's it at the end of the day.
Yep.
If you like our videos and you want to know more about us and learn more of our insights in terms of money, we would love for you to join our private email community called the Wealth Pack. We teach more about our insights in terms of investing, managing money, and making money. So if you're interested in that and you want to join the Wealth Pack, please click the link down in the description.
So if you like what you heard here, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and make sure you share this with a friend. And we'll see you in the next episode.